So we'll begin the meeting with Speaker, Senate report, or actually we'll begin the meeting with public forum. If there's anybody here to address the Senate, who's not a member of the Senate and would like to speak on the behalf of themselves, an organization on campus, the department, feel free to do so now. Is there anybody here for that?
I'm just here to represent Torch Alliance with the budget request recently.
Okay. So we're going to bring up the budgets, and if you have any questions for you, if the Senate allows, we can pass those questions towards you. Otherwise, it'll be mostly a discussion with just the senators. Anybody else here for public forum? All right, we'll move on to reports. Speaker of the Senate report. I do not have any report as speaker, aside from the fact that I know there are a couple senators who are in Southern California and they're there. Just so this is on the minutes, I guess. We don't do any excused absences, unfortunately. So if they're going to be out there for more than 1 week, that's 2 absences that they're going to have to deal with, just so that they're aware, unfortunately. So you get 3 total, I know, but 2 is a lot, and you only get 3. So just so that they're aware, and everyone else is aware. So if you already have a bunch of absences already, and just for all you guys to know that, that's the attendance requirement. All right, we'll move on to the President's report, which will be given by Kel in her absence.
So they're probably not going to miss more than 1 meeting because next week the meeting's going to be canceled because it's the holiday weekend and the golf outing's going to run later than scheduled. So yeah, no meeting next week. Also, if you guys haven't filled out the shirt sizes for the polos, do that. There's only a few missing. And just a reminder that presidential elections are coming up soon.
So we'll now move on to the Vice President report, which will be given by Owen Hayes, our treasurer, in his absence.
And current vice president. Current committee heads, please remember to keep your portals updated in OrgSync. Submit events to the community calendar via OrgSync. Also, those little swipe machines that we budgeted for, they're in, so we can start using them for different events. So if you guys are interested in keeping track of attendance at any events, you can check them out from the student life.
And then if I could just add on to the committee items they talked about. On those same portals, you're supposed to be taking attendance for your committee meetings. So I'm going to use that for oversight committee stuff later on in the semester in terms of involvement in subcommittee, which is a requirement as a senator.
May I ask a question? The swipe machines, are they check-outable by for any organization for any on-campus event?
Yeah, it's got to get approved by student life.
Okay.
So we'll move on to Chairman of the Committee on Student Interest Report. Yeah.
RSO Summit was yesterday. It was a success. Yeah. Subcommittee heads keep having your meetings. I'm going to reach out to you guys soon. We're going to have a group meeting. So just be on the lookout for that.
And now we'll move to Treasurer report.
Treasurer Summit was also yesterday. It was also a success. As I'm sure you guys looked at the docket, we have 6 additional fund requests, and there's another 3 that I emailed out to the Senate. Did you guys get that email? Yeah. All right, so we have a lot to do tonight, so try and stay focused and keep a level head, and we'll get through it. Yep.
What's the current balance?
55K.
So we'll move on to the Secretary report.
All right, so there's several freshmen here tonight who are effectively senators. We're going to approve them at the next meeting.
Okay. We'll move on to committee reports, academic affairs. So we have a budget up today for an event that we're doing in November. I hope you guys approve it, look into that. Other things that the committee is doing, of course, the golf outing with the golf club. Pretty good right now. We're getting closer to our faculty goal, but if you have faculty that you think will come to the golf outing or should be there, please reach out to them, let them know that all they have to do is email sfa@stevens.edu to get added to the faculty list. I might have invitations with me, I might not. I'll check after the meeting. And we're looking into doing a student survey on study spaces on campus. It was a request of the Vice Provost of Academics, Professor Chaspis. We'll be hopefully rolling out that survey in about 2 weeks, and it will be a cumulative survey to kind of discuss problems with study spaces on campus and problems and solutions to make more study spaces on campus. So if you guys have any interest in that or want to talk about it, feel free to reach out to me or come to one of my committee meetings Thursday at 5 p.m. in Fabulous Center 220. We'll now move on to accountability with Kristen.
Nothing to report.
Report. We'll move on to campus life with Sarah.
It's gonna be a meeting this week, probably Wednesday or Thursday at 9. I will send it.
We'll move to constitutional bylaws with Danielle.
No report. Look for a meeting again, maybe not next week, but the week after, before the meeting again at 6:30. I just have one constitution that I'm still going through for the Armenian club, I believe. And so hopefully that'll be on the next meeting's docket.
We'll move to public relations with Anthony. Any report in his absence?
No report.
We'll move to speaker. Any report in absence? No. And then we'll move to tailgate committee.
There is a tailgate on Wednesday at 5:30 for the women's volleyball game, and it's going to be on Schaefer Lawn. Yes. That game got canceled, so that tailgate's also probably going to be canceled. All right, moving on.
Yeah, make sure that's in the notes. Everything that just happened. That's really important. We'll move on to committee on student interests, subcommittee reports, ethnic student council,
No report.
professional societies. Not here. I guess no report. We'll move on to media board.
I was absent last week, but did we have the whole plumbing situation worked out? Because I found out information about it that I sent to Cal. So, well, that SGA was gonna have to
What
come.
information were you sent?
Well, I was talking to one of, what is it, WCPR that has them? They were saying that, they talked to Dean Nielsen and that I guess, hopefully you had found out, but, that SGA is in charge of it since we put in the air conditioners, which caused the plumbing situation to happen, so we're in charge of the fee for it.
You want to put this down to discussion? We'll save it till then.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna keep moving with the meeting. Special interest committee.
So the current head of the special interest subcommittee has become a graduating commuter, so it needs a new head. I'm going to schedule a meeting with them hopefully this week so they can elect a new head.
Okay.
But for now, I'll be in.
Yeah, you can take over as head, so the interim head.
Yeah.
Yes. Just let me know who is the new.
Club sports. It's not here. No report in his absence probably. Arts and music. Actually, she's also not here. I imagine no report in her absence. Recreation.
I'm having a meeting Thursday at 9:30. See how it goes. Yeah.
So we'll now move to old business, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the September 22nd meeting.
Second.
September 29th, I'm sorry. Alright, so now we're in discussion on the minutes. If everybody would like to open them up. I apologize for the projector not working. Any questions in terms of who's marked here or not here, things we talked about? All those in favor of moving to the previous question, please say aye. All those opposed? All those in favor of approving the minutes from the September 29th Senate meeting, please say aye. All those opposed? So motion passes. We'll now move to new business. Kristen?
Motion to approve the student next best stamps for additional funding.
So we'll move to discussion. Discussion on the budget as a whole.
Which one is
This is the next best dance crew budget.
5 elements.
5 elements, total of $525, 2 line items, one for food, including Gatorade and water, at $300, and one for entertainment, included as a DJ for $225. Kristen?
So, Taya's my roommate, she's the president of this. I was looking at this and I asked her about it. I was concerned because I know 5 Elements is teaming up with Beta Phi Alpha and it's a charity event. So that like rang alarm with me, but I spoke to her and she said that they're actually 2 separate events. The food and the entertainment is for the preliminary round.
where none of the money's going, you can I guess you can go for free, to watch the people dance, and then the actual event itself will be raising money, you'll have to pay for tickets, so, I personally don't see anything wrong with this budget anymore, since I got it all cleared up. Does anyone have any questions?
Just so you guys know, they already have 5 events budgeted for this semester.
Anybody else, discussion on the budget as a whole?
What is the projected attendance? Does anybody know? This $300 seems excessive for
Gatorade.
liquids.
Kristen?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree, it's excessive. I don't think, and especially I think this is the first time that this event's ever been held on campus. And I don't suspect it having, I mean, it could be great, I don't know, but I really haven't heard anyone talking about it yet, so. And this is for one event, so I don't know if.
Olivia?
Motion to cut the line item number 1 in half.
Second.
Well, now is the discussion to cut the line item for beverages, food on campus in half, correct?
Yeah.
So we're in discussion on that motion. Any questions about it?
This line item is just food, right? It's not the DJ or anything?
No, this line item is
It's just
$300 just for food on campus, and we're proposing to cut it to $150.
So having the food.
Move the previous question.
Second.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of striking line item 1 on the proposed budget in half to $150, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, so we'll now move back to discussion on the budget as a whole, which stands at $375.
Move the previous question.
Second.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of approving the budget as it stands at $375, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
All right, can we do hands on that one? All those in favor? Was it just you? Oh, just humor me. All those in favor?
Project.
Yeah, you guys really got projected. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, so the motion passes.
Motion to approve off-center's additional funding.
Second.
Okay, we'll now move to discussion on the upstairs additional funding request. It's for playbills, $50 total for 100 playbills per show for 2 shows, and then $6 for supplies, which is scotch tape, for a total of $56. Discussion on the budget, Sarah.
Do we not do the print shop anymore? For student life, you had 100 free. Do we not do that anymore?
Those are for flyers. These are the playbills that they actually give out at the shows.
So you can't get those
Not
printed as
for free.
flyers and fold them.
Stupid policies.
Because they get the stamp, and they can't give them out.
Any other questions on this motion?
Move the previous question.
Second.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of approving the off-center additional funding request for playbills, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Matt?
Motion to approve the SASE National Conference.
Second.
We'll now move to discussion on the SASE National Conference additional funding request, which consists of one line item for 3 nights at hotel, $160 a night, and then one line item for registration fees at $65 per person, coming to a total of $1,020. Questions about the budget as it stands? Kristen?
I just don't know. I don't know if anyone knows anything about this. But the numbers just don't really add up to me. They say they have all these people going to $1,000.
No, well, I think it's additional funding, which in the description says that they want to send 24 people, and the guideline is up to 20.
Okay. So they already have money for this thing.
They're asking for funding for an additional 8 people.
Additional 10.
Additional 8.
They have funding for 16.
Mike, do you have
Yeah, they
anything
had
to say?
16 and then it went up to 24.
Okay.
Your hand up?
I was scratching my bug.
Oh, okay.
If they have 16 already approved, can you tell us what that number is? And then we can divide that and see if it matches.
They have $2,080 currently approved for this conference.
So it should be 1,040 instead.
Wait, what did they already have approved?
2,080.
Do we have the line items for that? Like how much was?
It was 400 for registration fees and 1,680 for travel expenses.
So they
already got
all the travel. 6 people. How much for travel?
No, I'm sorry, 1,680. So actually,
60 people? Yeah, that's the max.
Yeah, that's maxed out.
no, so technically what we could do is, give them $1,000 extra for something.
We could only give them the registration.
Yeah. So Devon.
We have a budget cut. You should say that the registration fees that they had on their old budget request was 400.
Yes.
Then why would 8 more people be more than what they had for
Yeah.
16?
Shady stuff.
Sarah.
With the last one, if it was the same $65 per person, it was 6 people that they budgeted for, but hotel was 20 people, the cost of it. So, yeah, that doesn't really make sense, but for now, I just moved to cut the hotel line item from the budget.
Second.
Alright, so now we'll move to discussion on removing line item 1. Matt.
Point of clarification, can you say it again, Sarah?
Oh, okay, so if the old, what we already approved from them, we gave them $1,680 for hotel and travel, which if you divide that by 20 is $84 per person, so that's all that they can get maxed out. The old conference registration fees was $400, if you divide that by 65, which is on their budget as what it costs per person, that's 6 people that they can bring. So we can't give them any more hotel, and then if they want more registration fees, obviously they can because they're not exceeding the limit. Even though it doesn't make sense that they would budget for 20 hotel fees, but only 6 people.
John.
Given that the conference is next week, the registration fees are probably much higher right
Probably.
now than they
Yeah.
were last semester. So I don't know what they were then.
Right.
And they do not have a representative present, obviously, too, so.
This is out of scope technically for the motion. So motion is cut the hotel, which is the line item 1.
Matt.
Second.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
All those in favor of striking line item 1 in its entirety for hotels, please say aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Alright, so motion passes. We'll now continue on discussion on the budget as a whole as it stands at one line item, $520 for registration. Alon.
Well, this is kind of a moot point now, but, they requested 1680 and the SAF went up, so they're actually technically allowed to request more than 1680. The new number is 1750. I mean, it's, $35, but just want you guys not operating on the premise that, SAF is still 240, it's 245 now. So the numbers are different than what they were in the initial request.
Discussion on the budget as it stands. Anybody else? Discussion?
Move to previous question.
Second.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of approving the budget as it stands as one line item for $520 for registration, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Vaughn.
I move to approve the Torch Alliance additional funding request.
Second.
Move the discussion on that budget. That budget as it stands is an additional funding request for ticket or admission price for the Rocky Horror Picture Show, $150 total. So discussion on the budget as it stands. Danielle.
So how many tickets, I guess, are you looking to buy, and, is the policy sure to charge $5 a student?
Yes.
Yeah, we were hoping to buy tickets to support subsidized spots for 70 students, because it's a joint Rocky and Torch event, or SDS and Torch event with people open to the public. We were hoping to subsidize $5 for that. So it's a $10 total fee and $5 off of that.
Kristen.
Point of clarification, did he say the public, like the whole?
Or, sorry, not the public, but the student.
Oh, student body.
Yeah, sorry.
Questions on the budget then? Matt.
Move previous question.
Second.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Well, you're only one, so
No.
we're gonna keep going. All those in favor of approving the budget as it stands, one line item for $150 to purchase admission tickets to Rocky Horror, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay. We're good to go. It passes. Any more? Anybody else like to make a motion on the budget? On the agenda? I'm sorry.
I move to consider the Tea Party additional funding request.
as it stands, is an additional funding request for the Stevens Knit and Crochet Club, I apologize. It's 3 line items, $15 for food, which includes tea at $5 a box, $100 for cookies and treats for 20 people at a budget of $5 per person, and a third line item for cups and plates for 20 people at a budget of $1 per person, coming to a total of $135. Kristen?
This is the first event they've had that I've actually known about, so I think this is great.
Any other questions with the budget? Yeah.
I was gonna move to previous question.
We can do that. All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Alright, so we're gonna do hands on that one. All those in favor of moving the previous question, please raise their hands.
No, this one.
No, this was on the docket.
No, to move previous question.
I'm counting. All those in favor, please raise your hands. All those opposed? Did you guys raise your hands both times?
No, I didn't.
I didn't raise
Oh, I apologize. Let me just count them. Okay, so we're still in discussion then. No, it's alright, we're still in discussion, it didn't pass.
Yeah, I know it's only $20 that they budgeted for cups and plates, but $1 a person for cups and plates is kind of a lot for 20 cups and plates. I know it's small, but
So any other discussion on the budget?
sounds like.
Kristen?
I like to move the previous question.
Second.
So, all those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
So I'm gonna say, there's only 2, so I'm gonna say it passes.
It has to take 5 more minutes too. with this question.
Why?
It's in the bylaws.
So back to discussion
Unless
then.
everyone.
Kristen?
I think $20 is like super petty, like if they don't use it, they can use it for something else.
No,
Is
it's-
there anything else back to us anyway?
You
Or is
can't
it back
do
to
that.
us?
Take it, Carrick. Tell me what I'm doing wrong.
I don't know, what am I
They
doing?
have to spend according to their budget, so they can't just spend.
Oh, right, yeah, they budget for an item, say cups and plates, they have to spend it on cups and plates, they can't just go roll it over for knitting.
That's not what she was saying.
I'm
She
saying
was
they
saying
had
save the cups
extra.
and plates.
They can use the cups and plates later.
That's what she was saying.
I did say that.
Sarah, support.
Move to cut line item 3 in half to $10 because that should be sufficient for cups and plates for 20 people.
Second.
So we're on discussion to cut line item 3 in half. Matt?
Move the previous question.
Second.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of striking line item 3 in half from $20 to $10, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so now we'll move back to discussion on the budget as a whole. Any discussion on the budget as a whole? Matt?
Move the previous question.
Second.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of approving the budget as it stands at $125, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Budget passes. I'll entertain any motion for an item on the agenda.
I move to approve the SMT food additional funding request.
Second.
Okay, we'll now move to discussion on the budget as a whole. Any questions with the budget? It's an additional funding request from the Student Faculty Alliance, which also acts as our academic affairs subcommittee. And it's for 4 line items, a total of $50 for food and water at an on-campus event in late November. Any questions with the budget? Discussion? Devon?
Move the previous question.
Second.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye. All those opposed?
I can't remember my question though, so it's okay.
Oh, okay, alright. All those in favor of approving the budget as it stands for $50, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
How many minutes does this have?
3,
That's,
just 3,
thanks.
yeah. So
That
we're
was my
totally in the
question.
clear.
Okay.
Alright, so that concludes all the items on the agenda. So now we can move to bring up the items that were sent out. Rebecca.
Move to approve the Arduino kit.
Arduino. You're right.
Kit.
Do we need 2/3 carriage, just for clarification parliamentarian? Do we require 2/3 vote to discuss this item since it was not originally on the agenda and it's a budget request?
Correct.
I'd like to, it's actually, you're not allowed to do it at all.
What?
There's nothing in the bylaws about a 2/3 vote to override the docket.
It defaults to Robert's rules.
It just it says in it that anything that's not on the docket is not allowed to be discussed.
I'm pretty sure you can add some document. Pretty sure you can.
Keep the way it's been.
Does that mean you can't change the bylaws?
Wait, what?
Why would we change the bylaws?
Well,
Not have that?
Bylaws committee.
They're looking at it. They're looking at
I'm
it.
sure, my computer's really slow, sorry.
It's in like the first second.
Tyler's on the
Tyler, you wanna read it?
Yeah, any motion to approve legislation not on the docket is out of order.
Yeah, he's in.
It's in section 1.02.
line number.
12.
Well,
So where are we at with this? It's common practice for hands are a little tied right now.
Control F, man.
Does that mean you can't motion to close, because that's never on the docket?
That's also never on the docket.
Well, if we're going by Robert's rules, there's no motion to close.
What happens? Just walk out?
The speaker closes the
never
meeting.
closes.
I'm glad we have Kirk back. This is good.
You guys can suspend the bylaws.
That's bull.
I moved to suspend the
Wait,
bylaws.
slow down.
We don't even
Let's
know
not
that.
get
We don't
brand
even know if
right.
there's a bylaw to suspend.
Let them look it up. Let's take this time.
Calm down.
Let's not look it up. I'm glad we filmed these now.
Can we discuss it?
Well, not the
Yeah, we can't move to discussion until we finish new business. You can talk, you can say something.
Couldn't we just make motions in discussion?
I don't know.
Let's have
I don't know. Your question. Ask Tyler. Ask somebody. Kurt, as parliamentarian, are we allowed to open up, we have Olivia.
Well, I'm reading from line 66 and 53. 53 says section 6, the Senate shall have the power to grant the status of recognized student organization. And then it continues, and on line 66 it says to open discussion on an item that the cabinet has not provided for or included in the agenda for the Senate meeting.
What do we have to do to make that
Line
happen?
66?
It doesn't say what you have to do on the bylaws.
Oh, the Constitution.
Constitution, our governing document.
Why would that be in the Constitution?
I am reading.
Kirk.
Yes.
Bylaws are how operations are carried out, which this is, so.
Daniel, how would you like to speak on that as chairman of the Constitution? Olivia.
I have another statement. The executive branch shall be responsible for and have a duty to consider the best interest for all students by determining the methods to address all needs and concerns raised by the student body in the Senate. So this is a need that we have, and you guys have the right to address it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
So wait, could you?
I'm not sure if that is-
What was line 6? Alright, I don't have the Constitution.
Line 66, it says, to open discussion on an item that the cabinet has not provided for or included in the agenda for the Senate meeting, but it doesn't say you can make motions on it, it just says you
I don't
can.
think it has to
We
be
don't even
2/3.
have to have a percent vote to discuss.
Basically, you guys have to bring it up. We're not, like, Barry can't bring it up.
I can't entertain it, I can't say, one of you has to make the motion.
Yeah, one of you has to make the motion.
I already made the motion.
I know.
So we're good.
So,
But we can't motion to approve it. We can definitely bring it up. Can we?
I think that we're gonna continue as planned. You guys can motion to
Technically,
bring up.
For me to allow it.
Yeah, but the Constitution.
It-
For the sake of functionality, can we just like
The
worry about
Constitution
it
gives
later?
us the power, but the bylaws are our governing documents that we voted on. So it restricts us as our own organization.
I'm gonna take speaker time. The way I see it is, as long as the parliamentarian's okay with it, and I'm okay with it, and the cabinet's okay with it, we, the five of us that are present, will entertain these motions that you guys make, and then as a Senate, it's up to you to declare if you guys actually wanna vote on them, once we move to closed discussion periods on them, if you actually wanna vote on them to pass or not to pass. So, the five of us are totally fine with this. but you guys are the Senate, you guys make the decisions, we just help move everything along. So it's really up to you. So I'm telling you, Mr. Speaker, that I'll entertain these motions if you make them. Matt?
So now that it doesn't have to be a motion, can we look at Arduino?
Just do what we usually do.
Yeah.
I said it's a motion.
Well, we're already in it.
Can I-
Sarah already made it, so we're
So
in discussion on the Arduino.
Okay.
So the Arduino budget is an additional fund request by the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. For $109, they're looking to purchase one Arduino starter kit. Discussion on this budget. Sarah?
Doesn't the robotics lab have an Arduino kit that everyone can use? And isn't like available in our thing, on the computer, that thing that everyone can have access to? The directory?
What committee is robotics building?
Special interest.
Well, it's not the robotics club, it's the Mechie department, the robotics.
Well, so the Mechie department has Arduinos, and then also the engineering department has Arduinos for the Design One lab. So that's a new curriculum I just rolled in. So to answer her question, there are Arduinos available on campus for use. So that's kind of what you're trying to get at?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So any more discussion on the budget? Sean?
From experience with the design departments, they would, unless we talk to them and find out something different, I don't see them being particularly amiable to letting IEEE borrow the Arduinos. They're very protective of anything as commonplace as their pieces of plastic.
Discussion on the budget as it stands. I'll see time to Owen.
Just so you guys know, it is a starter kit. If you guys can look at the budget, it also includes a book on different projects for them to work on. So it's not just the Arduino.
Discussion on the budget as it stands. Matt?
I'll see you.
Sean?
Move the previous question.
Second.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of approving the additional funding request by the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers for one Arduino starter kit at $110, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Budget passes. We'll now continue a new business on any motion that the Senate would like to humor. Matt?
Motion to approve the additional funding request for the student faculty golf outing.
Second.
We'll now move to discussion on the additional funding request as it stands. It's an additional funding request submitted by the golf club for a total of $18,685, broken out into line items. And there is a comment for clarification submitted by Senator Sean Dershel, which says that this is to replace the original budget submitted, which was allotted for $9,000, so they will no longer be using that $9,000. Discussion on the budget, right?
Yeah, if I may.
Sean?
So what happened was over the summer, the faculty, the Student Faculty Alliance, the provost, and the faculty all approached us us being the golf club, wanted to change the location. However, when the initial outlay of funding was made, including the deposit, starting in the spring, that was assuming the previous terms with the previous course being up at Crystal Springs. So we went to a new course. These are the new contract terms. And this amount includes the deposit amount that, since the deposit date changed, the deposit rolled back into the SAF. That was approximately, what did I say it was? It was about 30%, so it was around $3,000. On top, or plus the $9,000 that we were already allocated to put down the rest of the funds this semester. And then everything on top of that accommodates the above more than 80 students, because it's normally for 80, we increase it to 100, and yeah.
So to, I guess, further clarify, originally the golf club had requested $12,000 for this event in its entirety, from security deposit to the entire event. Since then, all that money, that's just there, we didn't spend any of it. We're like to correct the entire golf outing budget from the original $12,000 to now a budget for $18,000 to include the changes in price from the old course to the new course and the inclusion of 20 extra students. So that's kind of where all the extra money is now going to, the extra $5,000. Matt?
So the actual numbers that were approved, $10,725 for the fall budget, and then $4,500 for the summer, which is a deposit. So a little bit different than the numbers you guys have.
So it's only about $3,000 difference then.
$3,000.
Yeah.
Wait,
Discussion
what
on
was that? Can you?
So the Senate approved $10,725 for their fall budget, and then $4,500 for their summer budget, which is their deposit.
Danielle?
And this 18,000 is not additional, it's replacing that.
Yes.
And
Cause
adding.
you guys
For
never
the
mentioned
extra
it.
students.
Danielle?
So, in order to do this though, do we need to, because they technically have been allocated the money, like, this is like a reallocation and a budget, like, additional
Yep.
funding. So, like, do we have to change what we're approving right now? Steve brings time to Owen if he has the correct answer.
Yeah, I'm actually a little confused about what you're saying because, so I understand, so that you never made a deposit in the summer, so the 4,500
Rolled back into the SIF.
rolled back into the SEF, which I understand, but you still have $10,725 in your account for this event.
Yes.
So you're asking for an additional 18,000 on top of that 10,000? Okay, so
It's,
then,
I talked, the golf committee board talked, I talked with Christy, a little bit with Holly before she left, with Barry, and figured the cleanest way to do it, so that there's not there's the original budget and the additional funding requests, because those have two different, completely different like pricing layouts. It would be cleaner in the end to resubmit.
Christy thought that this would be easier from Student Life's end to get all the checks in order to pay the golf course on time and correctly without any issues. Discussion though, as it stands, Danielle?
Motion to cut all line items except for line item number 1 and to cut line item number 1 to $7,960.
So, if we are to entertain that motion, we would entertain it in two parts. One to cut all the line items 2 through 5, and the second to change the total for line item 1. So which would you like to make first?
Doesn't matter.
Alright, so I'll entertain, is there a second for her first motion, which was to strike line items 2 through 5?
Second.
Discussion on that motion. Discussion on that motion, Matt.
So would this be easier, I guess this is to Owen, would this be easier to redo, or would it be, is there a downside to, Owen? How much money?
I'm sorry, looking at,
Yeah.
what's up?
Would this be easier for us to redo it as a whole new budget, or would it be easier?
It's easier the way to do it, that Danielle was recommending. You technically be giving them an additional $18,000 column, 10's already in their account. So like, I understand, like, it's good that we have the itemized list so we know where it's all going, but it makes more sense to give them, with the motion.
No, the 4 rolled back is the summer budget. So just for clarification, just so we can get the exact number that's in the account right now.
10,725.
So
It's another 7,960.
that's the number we gotta remember.
Yeah.
So we're still,
That's what she,
yeah, well, we're in the first motion, which is to strike line items 2 through 5. Discussion on that motion.
Move Bree's question.
Second.
Well, you guys, so, nay.
Yeah, it's actually 99.
Well, we're not in that motion yet, so,
Our account right now for the golf.
you were approved 10,725.
That's also including our non-student faculty golf outing the golf club goes to.
Okay, well, that's not this motion.
Yeah.
Okay. It's fine.
we can still change the line item. So, obviously, we have passed, so we're moving to the previous question. All those in favor of striking line items 2 through 5 from the additional funding request for the student golf outing, please say aye. All those opposed? So the motion now passes. We'll continue on discussion as a whole on the budget as one line item for $8,500. Danielle?
Motion to increase line item 1 to $8,785.
Do we have a second? Well, now the discussion on that motion as it stands, which is to change line item 1 to a new amount. Sarah?
So is this for the golf outing that's happening next Monday?
Yes.
Yes.
And follow-up question, you have 20 extra students already signed up for it?
Yes.
How many students total?
103. Well, there's 100. There's 3 waiting for their confirmation, depending if people drop out. But
We
right
have
now
room on the
we're
golf
aiming for
course.
bringing 100 students to the golf outing.
And then we have room for 30 faculty on top of that. We're at 18. So we're definitely going to have a full house. More discussion on this motion as it stands. Matt?
Thank you. All right, so I'm confused where you're getting this 9,900 number. So you were approved 10,725. Where does that other 800 go?
That is the amount that's not for student faculty golf outing. That's for one of the golf club's outings. That's not.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, if you go more into the budget,
Oh,
it
yeah,
has
no,
the
you're
split
right. You're
between
right.
the outing
Yeah,
and
you're
the
right.
golf.
Okay, just making sure.
So,
Continue discussion on the budget. Matt?
so what is the number that we have to make up and to make it?
It's the number Jenny already made. So we're in that motion.
Can you just repeat that number, please?
$8,785.
Matt?
Move the previous question.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of approving the student faculty golf outing, additional funding request as it stands?
No,
No.
we're approving the motion.
Oh, that's right. All those in favor of approving the motion to change, my mistake, to change line item 1 to the new amount, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So now discussion on the budget as a whole, the number now stands at Matt.
Move the previous question.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of approving the student faculty golf outing additional funding request as it stands, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Continue to entertain any motions that you guys would like to make.
Motion to approve the Blue Rack Community Service Funds addition.
Do you have a second? Okay, so I'll move the discussion. So the additional funding request as it stands by Rotaract, community service organization on campus. It includes 5 online items, culminating in $147 for bread, peanut butter to make sandwiches. It's serving at the Hoboken Homeless Shelter. Discussion on it, Danielle.
Well, right now we don't provide APO with the funds to do sandwich making because we donate the food to the Hoboken Homeless Shelter, which means it's not being given to Hoboken or to Stevens students. So I'm not in favor of this event, and if they would like to do this event, I suggest that they partner with APO since APO uses their own their dues funding to fund the event, and so they can partner with them on that.
Discussion on the budget as it stands. Seats on Owen.
It's a budgeting rule that, I mean, she just said this, but just so you guys know, it is a budgeting rule that we can't fund any charity events where the proceeds are somehow directly going to charity.
So back to discussion, Sarah.
Yeah, I just want to say something.
Matt.
Makes sense. Move the previous question.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of approving the additional funding request by the Rotaract Club, please say aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Motion does not pass. So, any other motions you guys have?
Move to approve the EWB Regional Conference.
Second.
All right.
Good.
So, this is an additional funding request by Engineers Without Borders. 2 line items. $1,040 for travel expenses, train tickets between Hoboken and New Brunswick for 20 people. And then a registration line item for 20 attendees at $85.75 per person comes to a total of $1,715, which puts the entire event at a total of $2,755. Discussion on that as it stands. I'm sure you guys want to start doing the math on that. Sean?
Have they gotten any money so far
No.
for the conference?
This conference, don't believe so. Let me just double check that.
No, we haven't. We haven't.
Sarah's a representative of the organization.
What? I'm the representative.
She's a representative of the organization, yes. So,
The
Kristen?
numbers are good. It's 35% of 245, which ends up being like 80, 70.
It's exactly what.
Yeah,
it's
exactly
what
right. The max is.
That's what happens when you have a senator as your
Yeah.
president.
So discussion on the budget as it stands. Matt?
Move the previous question.
All those in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor of approving the Engineers Without Borders additional funding request for their Northeast Regional Conference, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. So, I'll entertain any other motions that you guys have, things you want to bring up.
We're just in discussion. right?
If not, we'll move to discussion. Is that right?
CPR thing, right?
Everyone's okay with going to discussion?
Yeah.
Discussion. So we'll start with the WCPR item, which we tabled from committee reports. Shannon, if you want to.
So basically, I was just told that I know we weren't sure if we were supposed to pay for it or if the school was supposed to pay for it, and we were thinking that the school is responsible, but Dean Nielsen told them that we're responsible because we put in the air conditioning, which is what caused the problems.
So we can continue on discussion on this if anybody has anything to add. I have something to add. We definitely need to find proof that we paid for the air conditioners before we let them muscle us into paying for the repairs. So that's definitely something that I suggest the cabinet look into moving forward.
How much you paid for the air conditioners?
That was something that came out of our budget at one point in time.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but I believe it. I mean, I saw it in quality, but.
Wait, air conditioners
For Jacobus in that area.
I know we pay for air conditioners in the TV, so TV station.
Yeah. No, but yeah, Dean explained to me, he said the whole HVAC system was messed up and apparently we.
We paid for it? I don't remember that, but okay.
I think it was a while ago, but.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember that.
Matt?
Why?
Why? Well, this is something that we definitely have to, this is obviously beyond, I think, all the senior senators and the cabinet experience. I think it happened prior to that, so this is always something to look into.
Yeah, I don't believe there's any record of work sync, but then again, we haven't been using work sync for about.
Matt?
So my question is, because we were so concerned that it's an upkeep of a school building, so it shouldn't be on us for the students to be paying for it. But if past senates approve it, now do we have to approve the upkeep of it because we put it in? Even though that's not how we're feeling about it?
Kristen and
I
Sarah?
think in this particular case, we should, only because the past Senate has done it, but moving forward, I don't think we should. I guess we can just say it's like grandfathered, but in moving forward, we should not take care of things like that anymore.
Sarah?
I don't think it's necessarily true that we have to pay for this. The reason that they would have paid for it in the past is because we used to have a Jacobus advisory board, which is now kind of like bundled into the campus life committee. But since Jacobus is like in the strategic plan to be torn down first, or one of the first buildings, we don't like putting lots of our money into it. And we're supposed to do campus improvements, and the building's gonna be gone. So that's been our rule of thumb as of recently. So it definitely wasn't in any of our times that we knew this like strategic plan was happening, which is why I don't think we should be putting our money in it that students won't be able to see, because it's gonna be gone.
So, continue discussion on this item. Shannon?
The problem is that this was already fixed, and it's billed to us now. It's not we're putting money in to fix something. It's already been done, and it's been billed to them. So they're trying to have, someone's gotta pay for it.
So, I think we discussed this before. Another reason why we were not okay with the idea of paying for this bill is because we weren't approached to approve the work prior to. So this is a bill that's just been given to the SGA, rather than something that we would have approved. So that's one of the other reasons why we decided not to pay it yet. Continue discussion on this. If not, I'll see it on Owen.
You want everything? Okay. So I think, I mean, I agree that we shouldn't have to pay for it, and it's not right that we're just kind of go with it. But what we need to make sure happens is this doesn't come out of WCPR's account. So if it does happen that they need to charge someone, and it's either the SGA account or the WCPR account, it should be the SGA account. I don't think WCPR should be penalized for this, because they weren't consulted either. So.
Matt?
Worst case, if they do get billed for it, can they submit an additional funding request?
Yeah,
So just so you guys know, we're not going to vote on anything. We're not in any type of motion. We're just in discussion on this item. So if anybody wants to move to another item, we can. Otherwise, we'll continue on this issue. Sean?
Yeah, I mean, before we do, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place. But before we do pay, we should make sure that we, it's not just Dean's word that, like, we actually have documentation, like Barry mentioned, that we did actually pay to put the AC in.
Anna?
Who did we say that, like, if we don't pay for it, who would?
Well, here's the situation that Owen is describing is that if we say that we won't pay for it as the SGA, that means that WCPR isn't paying for it as a student organization. But because WCPR is one of those organizations that's allowed to make profit on campus, they have their own financial account, their own money that they made on their own by doing events outside of campus or certain things on campus, things like that. So the Office of Student Life could then go and charge them directly from their profit account. So that's something that could happen. And then what Matt described is, if that does happen, they could then come to us with an additional funding request, which we had promised them we would take care of, if that happens. So that's kind of the standpoint. If we don't do it, the Office of Student Life could then go and make that decision on their own.
Yeah, but it has to be one of the two of us, like, there's no third party.
Well, since Office of Student Life contracted it, they make the decision on where they send the bill. So their only decision is they want to send one of those two.
Okay.
Of course, we think it should go to facilities, obviously, because it shouldn't be in our control. Continue discussion, Shannon.
The way I am understanding this, like from their point, is that it is being billed to WCPR. It wasn't billed to the school. Like, I don't know if the school gave it to WCPR, but as of what I know now, it's on WCPR's shoulders. So therefore, WCPR had to go to Dean Nielsen because they came to us and then they went to Dean Nielsen. It's going back and forth basically. So someone has to pay for it, and it's on WCPR. It's not on the school, and we're waiting for the school to transfer it. It's on their plate. So we need to figure out, I mean, I can email them and say, hey, can you send in an additional funding request, and then maybe you guys can get that information in by
Well,
next.
we already have an additional funding request
Oh.
for this table that we've just been pushing off because we're not
okay.
sure we should pay it. So we know that they were charged with it, but we're saying that them as a student organization, which
Right.
means us, we should have been charged for it. That's kind of the standpoint that we're taking. Matt?
So would the next step be, I guess, for Shannon to meet with Dean Nielsen and voice our concerns as a senator for it?
Owen does the transfers,
They haven't charged WC yet.
Yeah. So there hasn't been an actual documented charge financially. Dean Nielsen is just telling us that
Right.
he's placed a charge to WCPR, and WCPR is under the impression that that's happened, which is a level of financial numbers that they can't see, only Owen can see. So continue discussion, Matt.
So I guess I'm asking is, you sat down with Dean Nielsen and voiced our concerns as a senator of why we think we shouldn't be paying for it, and he said it's gonna be going to WCPR anyway.
I didn't sit down with Dean Nielsen, WCPR did.
But that was another story.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, should somebody sit down with Dean Nielsen and voice, like a senator, and voice our concerns as a senator?
I think what we should do moving forward, as Speaker of the Senate, I think what we should do is that we'll schedule a cabinet meeting with myself and Shannon, President, Speaker, Chairman of their committee, and maybe a representative from WCPR, and all 7 of us will sit down with Dean Nielsen and really talk about what happened. I think that's because we've already gone through all the channels individually as a treasurer, and then the committee, and then the organization. We're all kind of stuck and not knowing what's going on, so I think that's the best way to handle this situation now, is to put all the parties in the room. So Shannon and I will represent the Senate, we'll have an organization representative there, and we'll have the cabinet. Does that sound cool with everybody from the Senate? We move forward with it like that? Okay, so I'll handle setting that meeting up. Alright. Yeah. Continue on discussion, any other items? Matt?
Thank you. You've been saving me so much time tonight.
No problem, buddy.
Update on the Hayden Lot thing. So I talked to Dean about this, we talked to Vice President Murphy. As it stands, as you mentioned, it is emergency parking, but they do plan on continuing to use it as a parking lot, but they also intend on letting us use it as an event space when requested. So I mean, theoretically, it would kind of be like when we requested River Lot. I mean, it's still a parking lot, but we could use it as an event space. So I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah. Discussion on that. Devon, then Matt, then Chuck.
Is that completely satisfactory though? Because with River Lot, we can be denied access to that for an event. So I'd imagine that we could be denied access to this as well. Yet under the prior circumstances, there would be no denial unless some other event was happening there at the same time.
Continue discussion. Matt. Sean.
So are we, if this is becoming a parking lot again, similar to River Lot, are we getting our money back for paving it to make it to fixing it into an event space?
If it's alright with you, Chris, I'll see something on it.
Yeah, I honestly don't know at this point. Dean kind of, it sounded like he talked to Vice President Murphy and she kind of brushed him off a little bit. I don't think we're going to see that $16,000. I'm working on it personally. I wrote a letter in this too, like I said. I'm going to try and meet with her. I really don't think it's fair the way they're treating us. But as of right now, there's no guarantee we'll get that money back.
Discussion, Kristen.
No.
Matt.
Ideally,
Ideally,
You still have the WCPR things going right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Ideally, I think they're set that this is going to become a parking lot. I don't think they're going to just stop doing that. I think ideally we get the CIF refund.
So yeah.
You said, just for clarification, you said it was gonna be an emergency parking lot.
Well, that's
No,
why
that's,
they use it now.
remember, if you remember what Barry had mentioned that there's a problem with Babio, but now it's being used for faculty parking, and they don't think they're gonna stop.
We'll never leave this emergency parking situation that we're in. That's what they're saying. Yeah. So that's kind of how I guess it's going to go from now. We'll look into getting money back. Obviously, I guess we'll go through President Murphy first. I think we should also go through the new Vice President of Facilities. Maybe he'll say that Hank still left some numbers undone somewhere and he never got it. I don't know.
Who is the new president of facilities?
I can't remember his name, but he just got appointed about a month or two ago. So he's on campus, he's back to the meetings and all this and stuff. So he's definitely active and involved.
If you know his name, can you tell us? Because CLC?
No, I don't know his name off the top of my head,
If
or
you
else I
can
would
figure
tell
it
you.
out, can
Yeah.
you let CLC know, because we wanna do safety walks. with
Yeah,
them.
I'll get it from the provost and I'll email over to you. But safety walks, you go through Dave Fernandez. He's our health and safety director on campus. He's a really
okay.
great guy.
I didn't know.
Yeah, his office is in McLean, 5th floor. Really
Oh,
cool dude.
cool, I'll do that then.
Yeah, I'll send you his information also. Any other
Thanks.
questions?
Thanks a lot.
Discussion? Sean?
To avoid this future issues with things on the docket and our 2/3 rule that's not actually in our bylaws, Danielle, can something get drafted up for next week to kind of take care of this little snafu?
Sure, cause yeah, I like just now was looking very intensely and in-depthly at the bylaws and did not find anything. So there is something about bills not being able to be brought up, but nothing about budgets or additional funding requests. So we can look into it, but does it have to be next week or can we wait till our next
There is no meeting next week.
Yeah, well, 2
Yeah.
weeks. Yeah, so 2 weeks we'll have our Constitution and Bylaws Committee meeting, so it
Okay.
might be the week after that something actually gets done, but just so we can bring it to committee first.
Okay. Yeah, just kind of keep avoiding
Yeah.
this, so the odds are it may or may not come up again.
So we're still in discussion, any more discussion points? Matt?
I was looking at the additional funding requests for today, and I feel like we always find ourselves asking, like, projected number of attendees. Is there any way you could throw that as part of like a template to submit the budget?
That's a good idea. Agreed.
Yeah, I have access to the form, I can edit that.
Just like a guesstimate of.
Yeah, no problem.
Discussion, Sean?
When I was talking with with the representative from Health Center earlier. She didn't know the budget was being reviewed today. I don't know, cause when we looked at their response and there was no like communication saying come to the meeting at this time. That might be why a lot of the representative organizations weren't here today. I don't know if that was something that happened this week or the people who are getting notified needs to be changed, cause I also noticed the reviewers are out of date.
Yeah, the reviewers don't really do anything, honestly. I need to get rid of that. But I'll definitely make sure going forward that I email people personally. Normally they get an org sync notification.
Yeah, well, we looked on her, the actual.
Yeah, I didn't put any comments on the OC one, yeah. Yeah, so.
But normally you do, right?
Yeah, I normally would try and do that, but I forgot to this time, yeah. So.
Okay.
Let's continue discussion. Did anybody over there, otherwise Matt?
Just in general, because that was one of our issues, was need to have better communication with representatives showing up to our meetings, not just the budget meeting, but additional funding requests.
Yeah.
So, continue discussion. Shen?
Just a quick question, are the freshmen gonna be emailed about coming here? That there's only 8 of them, so they're not running against anyone else? 'Cause I know my one friend is running and she was freaking out about like putting up all her posters and everything, so I wanna save her the hassle if this is true.
I believe they've already been notified.
Okay, that means she didn't
Some of
come
them are
in.
here.
Who's taking minutes in Chucky's absence? Okay,
Okay.
so continue discussion. Danielle?
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor of closing?
Aye.